Hello, and welcome to the Infinite Skills course on developing Android applications. My name is Don Cowan, and I'll be your instructor. I have to tell you, I'm really excited about doing this course. Android and mobile in general are really taking off, as I'm sure you already know. Smartphones and tablets now make up 70% of all computing devices sold. This is well over 1 billion devices sold each year. PCs are running at a rate of only about 350 million devices sold per year. The Android share of the mobile market is now in the range of 75%. It's the dominant mobile software platform. And Android development jobs are growing rapidly. There are shortages in many areas. I get at least one recruiter contact each and every day. Now, before we get started, a few housekeeping items. Google requires placing notices about reproducing their work on graphics, depicting their web pages and logo. You see these notices here, down in the lower left. You'll see them appear where appropriate throughout this course. The first is this notice about reproducing the Android robot shown here. You can see all the details of their branding requirements by following this link on the right-hand side. As you can see, I've modified the Android robot by adding a laptop and a smartphone. Google doesn't mind you doing these modifications. Remember, though, you need to include the notice whether or not you've made the modifications. In addition to the Android robot, I've included on this graphic an excerpt from the Android developer's website. It's in this area here. And we'll be examining many pages from this website during the course. You can follow this link under Google Legal Notices to see the Google site policies. On the second notice down here, you'll find a link to the legal notices for Android, covering the Android brands and other services such as Google Play, Google Maps, and so forth. It's important that you understand these notices, especially if you're going to create any products of your own that use Google websites or the Android robot. I've worked to make the course as interesting and understandable as possible. The Android system is fairly complex. We'll work through it all together. I'd really like to hear from you if you have comments, questions, or just to say hi. My email is donkcowan@gmail.com. I have a website at donkcowan.com, and you can follow me on Twitter at donkcowan. In the course of these lessons, we'll be using a combination of websites, development tools, code, and graphics. The websites, such as Android and Google Play, you'll access directly over the Internet. The development tools, such as the software platform and Google sample apps, you'll download to your computer via the website and download files. The graphics are contained in a PowerPoint presentation. I've titled the individual slides, such as the one you're looking at now. So, for example, the title of this slide is Course Resources. Again, welcome to the course and the exciting world of Android. In this lesson, we'll take a bird's-eye look at Android. And since this is a course about application development, we'll view it from a developer's perspective. Let's first look at the devices that will run your apps. They represent your customer base, and the stats are impressive. As of 2012, there are over 500 million active devices. There are over 1.3 million activations per day, and over 1,800 different device brands and models. And Android has just over 75% of the mobile market share. Android has a website with a nice web page where you can see the listing of these devices. So click on this link down here, and here we see the list. It's quite extensive, so I won't try to go through the whole thing. You can view the devices by country. Not all countries support all devices. By manufacturer, let's pick Samsung, and by operator. You can also view just phones or just tablets, and you can look by Android version. I'm going to clear the comparison over here. Let's pick the Galaxy Nexus 4G, happens to be the phone I use. Compare it with the Galaxy S3 and the Galaxy S2. We click on Compare, and you get a nice side-by-side comparison, feature by feature. Now let's look at the country support for Android. Android has a high level of global support. More than 135 different nations are supported as of 2012. 50 different languages are supported. And there's a set of localization tools for supporting countries that we'll look at in future lessons. We can see the details of this support by clicking the link here, and you can see that it's an extensive list. Now let's look at the network of developers around the world. As of 2012, there are over 300,000 developers. There's a large number of job opportunities. In fact, as I mentioned previously, there's a shortage of developers in many markets. And on the Android market, there's no app publishing manual review. In other words, when you submit your finished app for publishing on Google Play, no one manually reviews it. The fact that there's no app manual review by Google during publishing means that immediately after you've uploaded your app to the Google Play Store, your app is available to hundreds of millions of Android devices and users around the world. Google trusts you to follow their rules and relies on app user reviews on Google Play to monitor app quality. This is a big motivator for developers to create quality apps. And you can see a detailed list of country support of developers by clicking this link here. This web page shows the details of developer support around the world, and as you can see, it's a comprehensive list. To whet your appetite a bit further, here's the Google Play Developer Console for an Android application. Since this is the developer's console, I can only look at my own applications. So this is one of my quick-click ATM apps for locating ATM machines. We'll be going over the developer console in detail in a later lesson. Right now, I just want you to see one of the most exciting aspects of Android app development, following the growth of your apps in the global Android marketplace. Many apps will start to see downloads almost immediately after they're uploaded to Google Play. Then the fun begins, watching people around the world try your app. Our quick-click apps are used in dozens of countries on tens of thousands of Android devices. Apps that hit it big can reach hundreds of thousands or even millions of users. Remember, you have a potential audience of over 500 million devices. If you can reach only 1% of them, that's 5 million users. Now let's take a look at some of the details available on a developer console. You can look at different time intervals. So what we see here is growth over a month. I'm going to change that to 3 months. We can see active device installed. We can see daily device installs, daily device uninstalls, and so forth. We can come down here, and right now we're looking at Android versions. So you see the green line here is Android version 2.3.3 through 2.3.7. The blue line, Android version 4, Android version 2.2. So we can add lines to see more versions. So this tells you which versions of Android the app is running on. And right now on the ATM app, the most used version is 2.3.3 through 2.3.7. And we can also look by device. So the three that we're checking on the graph at the moment is Samsung Galaxy S2, the Note, and S3. We can check by country. So let me click a few more of these. It's always fun. The largest number of users for the ATM app is in the United States, followed by India, followed by Thailand, and so forth. And we can check by language and by app version. This is the version of the application, not the version of Android, and by carrier. So once your app is out there, it's lots of fun to track how it's doing, check it over time, but be careful, it can get addictive. So I hope this overview has given you a good glimpse of the tremendous opportunities for Android developers and your Android applications. In this lesson, we'll look at how the course is organized and how this organization relates to the Android developer's website. The Android system is fairly large and complex, so we'll be covering a lot of topics. The lessons are organized for easy reference during application development. The lessons are the individual names you see within each group. For example, the Activities and Services lessons in the App, Components, and APIs group, shown here. This graphic isn't a complete lesson listing. It's just designed to give you a feel for how the course is organized. You can find the complete list of lessons in the course outline. In each lesson, we'll look at the details of how the technology works, as well as coding examples to see it in action. These groupings follow as closely as possible the way Google has organized the Android developer's website. You'll learn how to use the developer's website as a valuable development tool, and the structure and content of this course will reinforce that learning. For example, the activities link on the website shown here relates to the activities lesson in the course shown here. Now let's take a very quick look at the developer's website to give you a preview of what it looks like by clicking on this link here. On the Android developer's website, you'll have access to information on designing, developing, and distributing your apps. We'll be using this website as a reference in many of the course lessons. Google has recently made big improvements in the Android website, and it's now much more user-friendly than it used to be. It's virtually impossible to hold everything about Android in your head. It's simply too large and complex. So referencing and discovering information about Android is an important developer skill. You'll learn how to reference the contents of the Android website as well as the course lessons. This is the starting page for documentation on the Android components. The topics listed here relate closely to the topics of the course lessons. So for example, here's a listing for the activities component I previously mentioned. So if we click on activities, you'll see a detailed explanation including code samples. And we'll be referencing these pages and building on their content. Now let's take a brief look at each group of lessons to give you a feel for how it's all organized. Notice the larger groups that look like bookends on either side, the development system on the left and the user interface on the right. The development system gives you, the developer, a gateway to all the other components. The development system includes the platform and tools you use to code and test your apps. It includes the Android website, design guide, software development kit, etc. The user interface gives the device user a window to the same components. It includes all the visual elements you see on your device screen, such as layouts, buttons, text, etc. It's quite a large collection, as you can see. All the components in between these bookends are what give Android its power and functionality. For the very simplest of apps, you might not need most of these components. To display the traditional developer's Hello World text, for example, you could get by with one activity and some text. But most apps will, of course, do much more than that. Let's take a look at these elements. App components and APIs control the flow of work in an application, including activities, services, content providers, and much more. App resources are the pieces of information that you'll want to keep separate from your Java code. They're coded in XML, or Extensible Markup Language, and include things like colors, images, and text. Media and Camera Group includes capabilities for capturing and playing back audio, video, and still images. Web apps facilitate accessing and displaying web pages as part of your app. Remote access provides capabilities to retrieve data from locations outside the Android device. Animation and graphics allows you to animate properties, views, and graphics. Data storage provides for storing data on the device and plug-in storage devices. Location and sensors provide mapping functions and access to device motion, position, and environment sensors. And connectivity provides for communicating with other devices via technologies such as Bluetooth, near-field communications, Wi-Fi, and USB. So there you have it, the basic layout of the course and the topics you'll be mastering. In this lesson, you'll get a preview of how you can promote your own apps. And the apps that I'll show you, I developed for MarketImpacts.com. The quick-click series of apps I developed is designed for easy mapping of different kinds of places. Each app has its own unique icon for quick access on the user's screen. The primary vehicle for promoting your apps will be the Google Play Store. However, with hundreds of thousands of apps available, you're likely going to need to promote your apps in other ways to get them noticed. One way the quick-click app series is promoted on the Market Impacts website is in this sidebar, and also on a dedicated web page. The quick-click apps web page explains the apps using text, graphics, and a video. Another way these apps are promoted is through press releases. We use PR Web to do internet-based releases. You can find some of our releases following this link here, and here's an example of one of the releases. They include marketing-oriented text, photos, and some of them include videos. When you promote your apps on a web page, you can link directly to the page for your app on the Google Play Store. So if we click on the ATM app, we're taken to its store page. The Google Play Store pages include promotional graphics, links to other apps, including your own, on this left-hand sidebar, a text description, a link to your website, an email link, screenshots. These are very important to include. Great way to give users an idea of what your app looks like and how it performs. Release information, an install history that goes over the past 30 days, and finally user ratings and reviews. Your Google Play Store app page is home base for app promotions and downloads. Many apps are discovered by users by searching the store via keywords. As an example, let's search on ATM. And we've gotten in the range of 1,000 results. And the Quick Click app is number 10. Not too bad. We'll look at Google Play, promoting your apps, and how to get your apps higher in search results in more detail later in the course. For now, you can see there are a number of ways to promote your apps, and they reinforce each other to build success in the app marketplace.